Okay, everybody, we got a small crowd in here today, but this is back to basics. So today we are taking a break from our normally scheduled topics to open this up for Q&A. And since Richard, Steve, and Ernie, you guys are smart enough to get on, you get to have the floor. Any questions that I can help with? I think we got everybody at a different level. Richard, how long have you been with us?
I am 5 months in.
Okay. Steve, you're like a weekend? Gotcha. Ernie, how long have you been with us?
Sorry, I was just trying to send a text. Year and a half, 2 years almost.
Okay. Now let me ask, out of all three of you, Ernie, you've got seniority.
Yes.
Richard, you're kind of the middle of the pack, and then Steve is new. Who is where they want to be in this business?
Not even close.
Richard's looking all around. Okay. So nobody's where they want to be. Okay. So let's ask questions. I'm not where I want to be either. And technically I'm an executive vice president. I'm a previous Hall of Fame producer. That was from 2020. I didn't hit it in 2021. I didn't really work to hit it this year, but I've made up my mind I'm gonna at least aim for it. If I miss it, that's okay. I'm still gonna do better than I did. So Ernie, what would you say your biggest problem is?
Inconsistency, which has a big trickle down effect. It affects my lead flow. It affects my attitude. I just haven't been able to get the consistent, 20K a month to be able to get my business flowing the way it needs to be, as far as being able to put the money into it I need to be to have enough money to pay all my bills to get ahead. So that's where I've been struggling for the past year. And it's just feeling like I can't get to where I need to because of it. And I know a lot of that is, mental. A lot of it is my attitude, but I don't know, just not being able to consistently, like, I can't tell you, like, my numbers vary extremely from month to month. So even
Gotcha.
week to week. So it's just hard to be able to put the money in I need to it when I'm not having the personal production I need on a regular basis.
Gotcha. So you mentioned mindset and attitude.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of it. Not a lot. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of it is because of that. But I mean, when you're not, when you have a bad week, for me, I can let that bad week carry over into a bad 2 weeks, and then the bad 2 weeks end up screwing up your cash flow, screwing up your leads. Like, even right now, I'm dialing leads that I've dialed 3 times already, and I don't really have an option right now, but I'm expecting different results than the other 2 times that I've called them, and I'm not getting different results. So it's like,
okay.
So I feel like that happens.
Anybody else on here hockey fan besides Richard? I know Richard did. Anybody else like hockey? I'm a huge hockey fan. Most people are football fans, but I'm a huge hockey fan. And I think, Ernie, one of the hardest things is when a goalie lets a shot in that he knows he should have stopped, that he could have stopped, that he should have stopped, right? So the best goalies in the NHL have what they call short-term memory. And they got to forget what just happened, like not even a whole minute ago, to move on, right? And to play well and help their team win, hopefully. So I feel like this business, you've got to get good at short-term memory. So when you do have a bad week, you have to be able to let it go, or if you have a bad day. And by the way, even as I'm saying this, I can tell you that it's not an easy thing to do. And you guys may think, oh, she's this, she's that, so she doesn't have bad days. You all should have, we should have my husband on here. He would tell you the truth. He'd tell you how many times I call him and he has to talk me off the ledge and remind me, if you let your mindset go that way, you're not going to have any success for the rest of the day. Not just the half that has already gone wrong. If you want it to change, you have to change. So who on here has something that they do every single day to help you be a better person and have a better, more positive mindset? Rashid, good. Richard, good.
Yeah, I do.
Ernie, good. Do you do yours every day, Ernie?
I would say almost every day, yes. I'm not gonna lie and say I do it every day, because there are some days I try to read every morning and do the affirmations every morning. Obviously it's not every morning, but I would say 5 or 6 days a week consistently I'm doing it. And then if, especially with the affirmations, if I don't get them done in the morning, I try to do them throughout the day while I'm driving or stuff like that. But again, I talked to you about this a while ago. That's still something I struggle with. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing them just because I know I'm supposed to, and told Athena, told multiple people that I would do them, but I don't necessarily feel like I'm always getting out of it what I should be. Right. And I'm just kind of going through the motions with them. Okay,
so I've been there. And I think you and I are similar in the fact that we have a lot of exposure to Athena, which is a blessing.
Right.
But at the same time, when you're not in a good headspace, she can be hard to take, because she is Miss Positive, and she is, I've got this challenge, I've got that challenge, but I'm going to overcome it. And I'm sitting there like, it's just, sometimes that's hard, but she sets an amazing example with this stuff. And when she first talked to me about affirmations, I was like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. And I hung up the phone thinking, okay, that's the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my life. That is not going to do any good. That's ridiculous. Boy, was I wrong. My problem now, and Ernie, maybe this is something that's happening with you, is that my affirmations I had that helped me hit over 26,000 from November 26th to December 16th. Those were the affirmations I needed then. I haven't gone back and looked at what's happening now. What am I mentally or emotionally or even physically struggling with right now? If you don't keep what you do every morning or night, or both, by the way, I have a morning routine and a nighttime routine. I need both, because I'm not sleeping good if I don't do my nighttime routine, because it's my way to let all the stress go and go to sleep. And then if I don't get enough sleep, which no comments, Richard. I was up last night thinking I was having a grandson, but I didn't. If I don't have enough sleep, I'm a walking zombie. So I got to sleep. I'm not like Sean Mike, 4 hours does not do it. But that making sure what you're doing has an impact on you right now can be critical. Ernie, when's the last time you changed your affirmations?
Not nearly as much as I should. I just kind of have a set of them that I've used every once in a while. I will, but I still have very similar ones. And I definitely don't take into consideration everything that's going on with me at the time.
Exactly. And that's what happened, because, Athena was like trying to help me figure out what was going on. And she's asking those questions. Are you doing your affirmations? I'm like, yes. All right. What affirmations are you doing? I said, I've got them. I'll send them to you. So I sent it to her, and she came back and she was like, girl, no. And I'm like, what? I'm doing affirmations. But, at one point I was struggling to book appointments. Who on here has ever struggled to book appointments? All right. Dana's raising her hand out here too. So I was struggling with that. My affirmations, they were good ones. There was nothing wrong with them. I can do whatever I set my mind to. I am limitless. You know, I can achieve any level of success I set my mind to. I literally, you know, I make changes, and I just, all this stuff. It was good stuff, right? Strong, confident woman, blah, blah, blah. She goes, okay, what about dialing affirmations? So what do you mean? I can do whatever I set my mind to. I'm setting it to dial, to book appointments. She goes, no. You need to get back to basics. Yes, I'm referencing the name of this training. And you need some dial day affirmations. Okay. And I thought, all right, so let's change it up. So I have a list of dial day affirmations. And it starts with my favorite. I love dialing. Yay. Doesn't everybody love dialing? I see all of you just jumping up and down for joy. Yes, Richard, I see you. Nobody loves dialing, right? But an affirmation is supposed to rewire your brain. I love dialing. These people are waiting on me to call because they need my help. That's the second one. Because you know what? I got to make it not be about me. Because if it's about me, I can figure out a way to go home and curl up with my dog and binge on Netflix. Let's just be honest. All right. So it's got to be, these people need my help. They're waiting on me to call because they need my help. They answer the phone. They are happy I called. They book an appointment and they thank me. So, you know, Athena was like, get back to basics. So I made those my dial day affirmations. And I came in and I was like, all right. And from the moment I woke up, I just said that over and over and over. It was like an endless loop in my head till I got to work, got to the office. I started dialing. First one I booked, she said, thank you. Guys, I jumped out of my chair like I'd been hit by a rocket because she said, thank you. And my affirmations were, they would thank me. And she did. I ran out to the board to put my tick mark on the board. I was jumping up and down. And that's hard for me because I have bad knees. But I was so excited because she said, thank you. And so then I jumped back on the phone and I'm dialing again. Oh my gosh, I booked another one. And guess what? They said, thank you. I went flying out of my office like a rocket shot me out of here again to make that next mark on the board because they said, thank you. And literally I filled up my entire 2 days very quickly and very easily, like I hadn't done in a long time because my mindset was awful. So then the next morning I'm in the car, I'm on my way and I call Athena. I'm like, okay, dial day affirmations work. Now I'm on my way to my appointments. And, you know, I haven't been doing very good in home lately. So I figure I need some run day affirmations. And she was like, duh. So then, you know, she was like, all right, well, what are they? And I was like, oh, I was hoping you would tell me. And she's like, no, these are your affirmations. I'm like, darn it all. So, I mean, I was like, everybody will be home for my appointment. They will all let me in. They will all open up and trust me so that I can help them. They will all get life insurance. They will all thank me and keep their policies in place. Those became my run day affirmations. And I still have the long list. I have a list about my health. I have a list about my business. I have a list about my faith. I have, you know, at any given point, I am just pulling what I need. And then that was helping, but I was still finding that I wasn't in my normal groove. Like it would have been, I can't even imagine doing that 26,000 like I did it. And she said, okay, I want you to keep a notebook or notes on your phone, something like that. I want you to stay tuned in to every thought going through your head. And whenever there's a negative thought, it doesn't matter what it is, you know, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that. It doesn't matter whether it's business related. If there's a negative thought, you need to write it down. Then that night you need to go and look at what you are saying to yourself, because you are programming yourself all day long. I mean, would you talk to your child the way you talk to yourself?
No.
Never, right? Never would I speak to my kids like that. So then she said, at night, you need to sit down. What are you saying to yourself? And then you write affirmations to counteract it. And those are the ones that you work on then. Affirmations, if they are just a sheet, and I have got, hold on, I'm going to show you. I have, this is 2022, front and back. Here's 2020, front and back. They didn't change much. Here's 2021. 2019. I kid you not. But they barely changed. When I hit senior VP, I turned it to EVP. You know, when I hit EVP, I turned it to board member. Stuff like that. But it wasn't really what is happening in here and how do I counteract it. And if you aren't where you want to be in this business, the first thing I feel like you need to do is work on this. And the second thing that you got to do is you got to put the activity behind it. Because that's the other thing, guys. I've increased my number of appointments and it's increased my number of applications and it's increased my AP. I just did from Thursday through Saturday what I typically didn't do in a week. And I still got the rest of the week. And at least 14, if not more appointments. Sorry, this thing keeps turning off. So it all comes down to getting this right and then putting the activity behind it. And Ernie, I would literally say, start writing down your negative stuff and then dissect it. And if you ask Athena really nice, she may help you with your affirmations. She wouldn't with me, but she might you.
Right.
Anybody else having a challenge with something? Rashid, I've been seeing you on the Zooms lately. It's nice to have you on here. Any questions you have that we could possibly help with?
I'm actually going through all of the same just getting here, and I set an appointment right before we started this. It was 1:26, and I said I'm gonna make one last phone call. I didn't get any appointments all day, and I set that up. I said I'm gonna make this one last phone call right after I ate my lunch and right before I jump on this meeting, and I did get an appointment. But my challenges are the same as everybody else's. So it's like I don't have enough leads. You know what I mean? I'm recycling my leads. You know what I mean? And he said Ernie said 3 times. I'm actually calling these people 6 and 7 times. I'm like, I'm gonna get somebody on the phone before I throw the lead away, unless the number is bad. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm pretty much having the same growing pains. You know, I'm only getting like 2 or 3 appointments a week. So I'm really glad that you said about what you said about the affirmations. I was like, you know what? It is time to monitor my thoughts, and let's try to start reprogramming my brain in that way. I mean, I've been working on it for years, but that was what you said was actually a good, a good suggestion. So I'm gonna follow that and see where it leads me.
I'd love to take credit, but are you sitting in the Charleston office right now?
I am. Yeah.
That the head lady there, she's responsible for all of it. I'd love to take credit, but I can't. I learned it all from her. So you're in the right place, Rashid. Yeah. One thing I'll share with you guys too is something you said, not booking any appointments, right? I called Athena one time. This was years ago. I still lived in Raleigh. And I called her. I was huffing and puffing. I was mad. And she's like, what's wrong? And, she's got that sweet, angelic voice, right? What's wrong, Paige? And I'm like, I can't book a single appointment. And she goes, yeah, not with that attitude, you can't. And I was like, okay, this is not sweet, angelic Athena. What the heck? I expected, let me sound like Dave Anderson for her to give me a hug and burp me, coddle me. No, she was like, not with that attitude, you can't. She said, I'm sending you a video. Don't call me back till you watch it. And she hung up on me. I thought we were besties. She hung up the phone. I was like, what the heck? So I turned on the video, and it was she has shared it in our Slack, and I will share it again. But the law of attraction, with
all
the celebrities, the Denzel Washington and Jim Carrey. Oh my gosh! And it's not a long video. I think it's maybe 10 minutes, maybe less. But as soon as I watched it, I was like, well, I know I'm not booking any appointments because I'm saying I can't book any appointments. The minute you say I can't book any appointments, I'm not booking appointments. Nobody's picking up the phone. Guess what you're attracting to yourself, guys? So I had to call her back and say, okay, I get it now. She said, good. Now go attract appointments. I said, okay, on it. And that was that. But every now and then I'll say something, and lo and behold, she'll hang up on me and she'll send me that darn video again. And I'm like, sometimes it takes a 2x4. But we all go through times. Life is a roller coaster. Then you get in this business and the roller coaster goes higher and it goes lower than it does in regular life. Because if you really aren't controlling this, then it's hard to put in the activity you need to. You can fool yourself if you're not doing what you need to do here, thinking because you're working at 8 and you end at 6 and not 5 that you've really worked. But how many dials have you made? If it wasn't 300 at a minimum, you're not really working. How many of you, I know a lot of you are new, so I'll say this. Is anybody dialing at least 300 dials a dial day?
I usually do.
Good for you. But what happens if you do that activity with the right mindset, though?
Yeah, I'm sure it would make a difference.
Yep.
But
yep.
I mean, I don't know. I tend to let things spiral in the wrong direction at times. So that's something obviously I need to work on.
Preaching to the choir, Ernie. I'm just as bad.
Like even today, I've made over 200 dials. I've talked to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 people and over 200 dials. So it's like, then those,
right.
appointment negative thoughts and people aren't answering.
Yep. It's hard to block them out when you're doing that.
It's like if in my first hour I have 2 appointments booked, then the rest of my day goes fine. But, once 11, 12 o'clock rolls around, if I have 1 or 2 appointments booked, then that's when all that negative crap starts leaking in. And then, my activity the second half of the day is less than it would be if I got off to a hot start. So.
Right. And all of that's normal human nature. But you have to have the abnormal desire to be different. And then you have to train your brain to be different. It makes a difference. But let's also talk about a few mechanics, Ernie. Are you dialing your leads with the same local area code that you're dialing?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Is it the same number you've used forever?
No, I usually switch it up every couple weeks, depending on, what leads I'm calling, if I've called them before, stuff like that.
Okay. Sometimes seeing the same phone number over and over gets people to pick up, but people can also end up marking you as spam. So like I'm with Verizon. So if you called me over and over and I reported your number to Verizon, then any other Verizon cell phone you call is going to come up as potential spam. But there are ways to overcome that. They're like these sites you go to and you go in, you register yourself and your phone number and what you do, and you can remove the spam notification. Or I like to use, and I can't take credit for this, Mike Pearson and my son Brandon, they found this, but I like to use the app called Burner. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, I have an app like that where I can change.
Yeah, so when the number gets marked spam, you can burn it and get a new one. I feel like a criminal going to the local corner store buying a new flip phone. Just kidding. But I've been watching bad TV. But no, if in one thing that we do a lot in the office, we'll call each other. Does it come up spam?
Right.
And like Richard's on a different carrier than Melissa, I'll call them both. Make sure I'm not showing up as spam. So find people here in this business that you can be text and say, I'm going to call you. Tell me if it says spam, and just check.
No, I usually do that when I'm not having.
Good. Good. Because we're not spam. And if you get people on the phone and they're telling you, hey, you know, I'm on the do not call list, say, well, awesome. So am I, but I'm not a telemarketer.
Right.
You requested this information. I'm the local field underwriter assigned to get it to you. Yeah. I mean, don't let people push you around. You don't have to be ugly, but also don't let them push you around. I was telling Richard today, don't hang up without telling them not to click on that anymore. You know, we don't want to, this lady, it's an 18 question survey, 18 questions that she completed. And then she told Richard she didn't do it. And he didn't tell her not to do it anymore. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't pop him. I've been talking about dropping the gloves. We're hockey fans, so we've been talking about dropping the gloves today. But no, but in all seriousness, you know, I do tell people, if you don't want the information, don't click on this anymore. You answered 18 questions.
Right.
This wasn't just oh, I happened to hit the wrong button. There were 18 buttons. You crazy people. You did it. If you don't want it, don't do it again. If I get this again, I always tell people, hey, if I get 2 requests, my company requires I come out. I say that. And if I do get 2 of them, I'm knocking on their door. Because they may say all kinds of crazy stuff to us on the phone, but when you're standing there with a big smile on your face and they open the door, they're not as crazy because you're live and right there. So, yeah. And you know what, Ernie, these leads, Rashid, you may need a door knock day. Yeah. All you need to have is a sale or 2 from that batch to fund another batch to get fresh leads. Fresh leads are the true, are the lifeblood.
But it's also good seeing, I don't know who that was in the Slack group who's been killing it on door knocks. So that gives me a little extra motivation where me with door knocking, it gets, you know, no one likes to door knock, I assume, but seeing her keep posting.
Yeah, she's been door knocking. She wrote so much this weekend from those door knocks.
Yeah.
I do want to say, if you're going to door knock, be sure you have something like this, the stickers. Yeah. You can get those. I will put it in the chat, ffl-store.com, where you can buy shirts and everything. You don't have to wear FFL shirts, but you can buy these stickers there. And because the thing is, your door knock is only effective if you get in touch with them, right?
Yeah, a lot of people.
So if they're not home and you leave this delivery notice, people are like, oh, I don't remember ordering anything. And they'll call you back. And then I've got a new phone number for a lead that had a bad phone number. I've resuscitated that lead back to life. Because even if I don't book the appointment when they call me back, I am grabbing the lead. I'm writing the new number. Now it goes back into fresh circulation. It's like a brand new lead for me, right? If they're there, you know, I used to have this complicated script, I would say, when I got to the door. But I think Mike Pearson does the best one. He's like, literally walks up and says, hey, you don't answer phone numbers you don't know, right? And he's holding the information up in front of them. And they're like, no. And he goes, yeah, I don't either. I was down the street helping out a neighbor, and I just wanted to stop by. I'm the local field underwriter. I got your request. It takes about 10, 15 minutes. I can do it now because I had a cancellation, or I can come back in 30 minutes. What works best for you? That's what Mike says, and he gets in a lot of houses when he does it. So don't let those no answers get you. Go out. Zach Luffel, sometimes he'll take a whole day and he'll go all huge circle. Apps like Road Warrior will literally, you can put all the addresses in, optimize route, and it'll put it in a perfect little circle for you. If you're going to use the gas, use it wisely. Any other questions before we wrap up and get back to this? This was kind of a Q&A, but I really wanted to focus on mindset because I really think it's the number one issue most people have.
When you said door knock, what just came up for me when you said write down your negative thoughts, my first thought was they're not going to answer the door. I've tried it, and I'm not going to make any money door knocking. That's what the negative thoughts.
There you go.
Could I add 2 cents here, Paige?
Of course, Tina Marie.
When I door knock people and they answer the door and I say, Paige, and she says, yeah, I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad to be talking to you. They don't send me out to door knock people unless they can't get a hold of them. And oftentimes they think they've passed away. I'm so glad you're alive so we can be talking. And it just
Thank God you're not dead.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're not dead. And so they go, oh no, I'm not dead. And they start laughing and then you start talking and it's a whole different mindset because you're like, oh my God, I said, yeah, I've had it happen where I've knocked on someone's door before and they did pass away the night before. I said, that's just a bad day at the office for me. But it just changes. It catches them off their guard so that they're more, I don't know. They tend to be more friendly to me, I think.
Yeah. Listen, guys, just realize that if you work on this, nothing will stop you. I mean, I recently had a health scare that kind of thankfully turned out to be nothing, but it grounded me, so to speak. And I was like, holy cow, I was doing all my appointments still face to face. Well, I got grounded and I was like, I got to go figure this out. So I just started asking a bunch of people, including our very own Zach Luffles, our very own Josh Rose, and a lot of other people in FFL, asking them what they were doing to have success on the phones. And ever since August 10th, I've been on the phone. I've only run like 3 face-to-face appointments. So literally, if you get your mind right, nothing can stop you.
Can I ask you one more question about that? I see you do a lot of policy reviews. How do you set that up when you call the client?
So I do have a secret weapon. Her name is Dana. She is actually a client and she's calling my current client, setting up the annual review. And I'm going to ask Richard to tell you Dana's script. He sits beside her and he tried to set up her annual review for me today.
And now most of your annual reviews just adding additional coverage, or are you replacing your old, I
do my best to add and not replace, but every now and then I end up replacing. But Richard, what do we say when that happens?
What? Which one? When we call them up, she usually calls them up and says, hi, this is Dana. I'm calling for your life insurance, and your life insurance, Paige Lohmueller.
Agent, yep.
Agent, and we're calling she's a little behind getting with you about your annual review of your policy. And most of the ones I've seen, they're all like, oh, okay. And she was just calling to set up a time where she could get with you and go over your policy with you. Simplest thing I've ever seen in my life. And this girl books all day.
She typically books at least 9 a day, if not more, on top of me dialing my new leads.
I mean, I feel like that's an easier book, especially for me right now. Like, obviously, if I could get a few appointments based on that, I was just confused about when you go in there, what your actual goal is. Whether you're just trying to. Well,
you know what? And this is why I like to do them by phone, Ernie, because there's no guarantee that a current client review is going to be a sale, right?
Right.
I go into it though, and I'll be honest with you guys. This is a call-in lead from 2020. This is my lead with my notes on it. This is my client worksheet. This is what I went over with them when I was in the home. If you can kind of see all I'm an OCD hoarder. Okay. It can be a good thing. I have all of this. So like, I know Bernard's dog is Kiki. His wife is Liza. I made notes, right? So I'm asking, how's Kiki? Does she still love that ball? Because I made a note played fetch with her, right? It can be very personalized, but I got him the America Payment Protector. And if anybody's familiar with that, that is a decreasing term. And I told him, I said, listen, this has a better price because it does decrease. And I showed him everything. I said, it's not my favorite because I personally wouldn't want that. But he insisted on it. And when I called him 2 years later, because I am behind on annual reviews, he got mad. got mad that he was in a decreasing policy. He'd forgotten and he hung up the phone on me. 2 days later, he calls me back, and now I'm getting ready to write an IULE on him. So you never know how these are going. Sometimes they're just like, nope, I'm perfectly good with what I got. Thank you for checking in. And you know what I say then? Okay, great. Hey, listen, any family or friends that you know either need life insurance or could use a free review of their current policy. I'm getting referrals left and right. So if I don't make an additional sell, I've just submitted they're going to keep their policy. Sometimes I get the referral. I'm booking them every 30 minutes. And if I end up doing a new application for one, then I'm just having to reschedule the one I miss. But I book them. I have Dana book those every 30 minutes. And then my new leads, I give an hour. But I like to go over the benefits. And I'll tell them that's the main reason I'm calling. You've got extra benefits in your policy that are really easy to forget after they've been filed away for a year or two. So I'm building a reason why I'm calling. And then I'm like, okay, are you, Ernie, are you still 26 years old? Or are you now 28 years old? You were 26 when I met you. Yes. Okay. Are you still a non-smoker? Great. Are you still on no medications? Yes. Any serious health stuff come up in the past 2 years? No. Okay. Well, the number one factor in the pricing of life insurance is age. You're very young. And the second is health, and you're still very healthy. If you're going to think about getting more life insurance, the time is now. And I'm working with a whole lot more companies than I had before. So we have lots of options. I open the door. I never get off the phone without offering, but I don't make it all about the offer. And I'm not bashing what I helped them with originally, except the payment protector. I don't love that one.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. All right, we've gone over. My apologies. But any last questions before we wrap this up? All right, let me hear you all say it. We love dialing.
We love dialing.
They're waiting on us to call because they need our help. Go kill it, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Paige.
Bye-bye. Have a great day, everybody.